Are we good? There, I see the recording. All right, so we just want to say thank you to everyone who's hopping on. If you hear background noise, it's bedtime for my kids. So sorry in advance. But we're super excited you're here, and we were wanting to share a little bit about the freedom that Young Living can provide. A lot of times we talk so much about the products because we all love it. Like, raise your hand if you love the products. I'm guessing if you're here, you love them. I saw a lot of hands go up. I know some of you, we can't see, I'm sure your hands were up. And that is amazing. And sometimes what we don't spend as much time talking about is the fact that there's a lot of abundance that can be had with Young Living as well. And so we wanted to share some of our stories of how kind of like what life was like before Young Living. We're all very different. Some of us did similar things. Some of us were completely different, but we want to share what life was like before Young Living, and then what life is like now, what the freedoms are that we have found in pursuing a business with Young Living, or deciding to share how much we love our products. So if you have questions along the way, the chat, please use the chat. We are going to, as long as we have time, we'll also do a Q&A at the end. We're going to record the part where we're all sharing, so if people couldn't hop on because they had other commitments or something like that, this will be available for other people, and then we'll stop it. And if you have questions that you want answered, we'll do that after the recording. So I guess I never introduced myself. I'm Amber. And I have been using Young Living essential oils for about 5.5 years. I think it'll be 6 years in June. And when I got started with this, I did not know that there was a business opportunity or an opportunity to earn an income at all. I had no idea. I thought this was like going on Target and buying something there. Like, you know, when you find your friend has something you like and they send you a link and you go get it, or Amazon or whatever. I thought it was the same thing. I didn't realize that by sharing and talking about something I loved, I could make a pretty darn good paycheck. So when I got started, I have two boys, and Nolan had just turned 2, and Finn was about when I got my oils 2 months old. I was a 6th grade teacher. I had completed my 8th year of teaching, and I decided it would be a good idea right after having a baby to switch to a brand new school with a brand new curriculum, a brand new team. I just needed some change from the school I was at before that. And so that's where I started this journey, was in a place of complete transition, complete overwhelm, had no time for anything at all. And somehow I made it work. One of the person who I got my oils from, she hit silver really quickly. I think she hit it in like 2 or 4 months or something crazy. And so after I got my oils, I started talking about it with friends, just like one of my friends was Pinteresting things. And so I was like, hey, do you have oils? I just wanted someone I knew really well to talk about them with. And she's like, no. And a couple months later in August, she asked me, she's like, hey, can I get oils from you? And I'm like, well, I just use a link, so let me find out. So I found out. And again, at the time I was teaching, I was at a brand new school. The school year was just starting, which, are there any other teachers on the call? Yeah, that's a crazy time of the year. And what I saw was the income disclosure statement. And I think at that point, the average average monthly paycheck for a silver was like $1,500. And I was like, if I can make $1,500 a month, that is going to change so much for us. My husband and I we have about, now my student loans are paid off, but we had about $120,000 in student loans combined. We just had our second child. We're both teachers. And I was like, that could make such a difference for us. So I decided to give it a shot. And I hit silver in 6 months. And I don't say that like because it's this grand thing. Like I have an amazing team and they're a huge part of that. But when I did that, it opened doors for us. We did not have to worry about going to the store and buying formula. We didn't have to worry about how we were going to pay our mortgage. We didn't have to worry about the credit card debt that we had racked up. Like we were able to pay more of that stuff, and not the stress wasn't there as much. And then not slowly, we hit gold and then platinum. By the following school year, I hit platinum. And I never went into this thinking I was going to like quit teaching. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do this Young Living thing and quit teaching. I paid a lot of money to get my bachelor's degree and master's degree in education. Just paid those loans off as well. And like, I never would have thought that this would be where I am, but because I saw someone do it before me and I had someone who shared their story and how they did it, it made it more possible for me. And I think that's why we want to do this, because this is possible for anyone. I don't have any sales background. I don't have any, like, there's nothing extraordinary about me. Being a teacher did help me because I like to help people and I know how to kind of present information, but those are the only skills I had. This is a job that you can learn on the go with. So now I'm home. I've been home for the last 3 years with my kids. I did resign from teaching. And the freedom that I have is just not stressing about how we're going to pay for stuff, getting to actually spend time with my kids. When I was teaching, I'd get up extremely early so that I could get the kids ready, take them to daycare where they'd spend the entire day. And I'm not saying this as though there's something wrong with it. We did that for years. Work all day, come home, feed them, have 1 hour. We had about 1 hour where we could hang out as a family and play. And like, I feel like I missed so much. And so to have the time now, I mean, we're talking about this on at a really special time where I could do without some of the extra time we have together right now. But I just feel so blessed to have this time with the kids. And the other thing is, this job is it's on your time. So like there's a lot of people working from home right now and trying to homeschool their kids. I'm doing that, but I also can decide. I don't have to be on a meeting with my job. I don't have to be taking customer calls. I can plan this around their bedtime or before breakfast or what works for me. So I'm just super grateful for the time and the connection it's given with our family. And then also we've gotten to travel a lot. So as you get to those higher ranks, you get free trips and it's amazing. Bonnie, or who wants to go next? Or Bonnie, are you ending? If you have questions, please ask.
I can go next and then come back around. So, so I've been doing this for a little over 9 years. And when I got started, we were kind of living, like having fun and living our second career dream life kind of thing. My husband had been teaching at a university, and we had our kids when we were very young. And so they were grown and gone. And it was kind of like, okay, what are we going to do now? We were in our early, 40s, and we had started, my husband and I both love horses, and we had horses. And so he established a second career at teaching natural horsemanship clinics all over. And we were traveling, we were kind of nomadic. We would go to Florida in the winter and Colorado in the summer, and, travel all over in between, and just we're having a really good time. And so, when the oils came into our life, it was like we really loved the products and stuff, but we also knew right from the get-go that it was a network marketing company, and we were very interested in that model. We knew that network marketing could provide another source of revenue for us. We knew it could, eventually be something that we could have a residual income from. And so from the get-go, we actually were begging our upline to tell us how this worked. We knew that it worked. We just didn't know how it worked, right? And so we had a class. I think one of my upline came and did a class for us, and we were doing a lot with horses and still traveling around. But we actually looked at it like, okay, this would be a great, like, little side hustle thing for us, and maybe eventually would build into something. That's kind of how we were looking at it. And we didn't know a lot. We knew that there was kind of a learning curve. Um, and we really didn't even know how to grow a network marketing business. We just knew that there was a way, right? And so about 6 months into it, and we had, I think maybe we'd had one class, and we had people that were asking us things because we were around a lot of people doing clinics and stuff like that. And so people would ask, and so a couple people would sign up, and we'd make a little check, that kind of thing. But it was, I wasn't really focused on it. It was more, what I'm doing over here on the side. Well, about 6 months into it, my husband had an accident, and he ended up with a very severe brain injury. And all of a sudden, everything came crashing down, because at that point, we were, his what we were doing with clinics and everything involved trading time for dollars. If he couldn't teach, there was no money coming in. He couldn't teach, walk or talk. So he couldn't walk or talk. I don't know why Marie's on here, but so there was no money coming in. And so that became an issue very quickly for us. And we knew that we could, do something with this, but we still were in the very beginning stages. And at that time, we didn't really have a place to live. I mean, we owned a house in Colorado, but we had sold our house in Kansas. We were using my parents' address as a permanent address because we were kind of living in our horse trailer and traveling around and stuff. And I was really focused on, what do we need to do to get him so that he is okay. And I couldn't, and there was just a lot. You can imagine. He had to relearn how to walk and talk. I was still trying to manage his business, thinking that he was going to recover and be able to go back to work, right? And we didn't know how long it was going to be. And so I was trying to keep his business alive, even though he couldn't do a lot. And so there was a lot of stress on me, a lot of stress, and having to make a lot of the decisions and having to figure out, and I mean, I remember at one point thinking, can I get like a part-time job somewhere, when I'm in Florida? And I didn't even know it had been so long, because I had retired from a business that I'd worked at for 27 years. And it was like, it had been a long time since I tried to get, and we were running our own business. It'd been a long time since I'd been in the job market. I didn't even know how to go about it. And I didn't have like a real permanent address. It was really frustrating. And all of our savings and all of our retirement and everything was slowly going away. And so I kind of looked at, well, I have Young Living. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is something, at least there's a little bit, I can see a potential here. And so I was not one of those people that grew very fast. I did what I could. on the side, but I was still managing a whole bunch of other things. And so, but it was the only thing that was bringing in a paycheck. So it was kind of like, okay, if I just don't quit, if I keep pursuing this, if I just don't give up on this, eventually there's going to be something here. I know there's going to be something here. And so I did what I could, but it was hard. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It was really hard to manage. And we all have those things. We all have things in our life that it's like, if we want to do this, we have to decide that we are going to have to go through hard times, and we're going to have to overcome some things, right? And, you know, we didn't have really a permanent home. You know, my husband couldn't walk or talk. I was trying to resurrect a business that was going to go sideways. And sorry, is everybody seeing Marie on there? I don't know.
We see and hear you, Bonnie.
Okay, good. All right. So anyway, so I just, you know, it was one of those things in my mind. I was just like, okay, I just need to keep doing what I can do. And that's what I did. I just put one foot in front of the other. I just kept working at it. It was slow. It was hard. You know, but there were amazing things. You know, I had some amazing people come around me and help me figure some things out. And so eventually we did end up losing everything. We lost everything but our house and our horses, pretty much. Our entire retirement was gone, all of our investments, everything. By the end of the day, we lost everything. And just with medical bills and all, you know, just living expenses while I was trying to build this to a point. So, but within 4 years, even haphazardly and here and there, and because I was determined not to quit, I was a gold within 4 years. And I remember when I hit gold, um, I remember thinking, this is about the same amount of money that I made at the end of my career, 27 years of working in management. I was a manager of a bookstore and opened bookstores. And after 4 years, I was making the same amount that it took me 27 years to build up to. And I remember thinking, okay, I still wasn't making enough to kind of cover all the bills and everything, but I could see it. I could see we were headed in the right direction, right? And so, and that was a real turning point for me when I hit gold and saw that this does work. This does work. Like to have that was just amazing to me. And so, and then I went on and hit platinum. I think I've been platinum 2 years now, or 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years. Anyway, on my way to diamond, and it's been amazing. And I think for me, the big things are, I have the freedom to work when I want to. I have the freedom to live where I want to. We live in a log home in Colorado, in the mountains of Colorado, and I love that. We still have our horses. We travel. We love to travel. My husband is recovered, by the way. I mean, he still has some issues, but definitely lots better. But he was never able to go back. I mean, he is unable to actually go back. And so this is our only source of income. And because of Young Living, I'm not having to live with my children at my age. You know, that would be, you know, I'm at an age where most people are thinking about retiring and living off their retirement. It's like we didn't have anything left. So this is my retirement. I am so grateful that I have this. And I love what I do. I love being able to help people. I love our products, and that's kind of my story. So who else wants to go? Becky?
I'm next. We have an order. Okay, so I'm Kara, and I was one of those people that had no intention of ever doing the business. When someone asked me about it, well, basically, my aunt just told me, hey, Kara, go get one of these diffuser things. I think you might be interested in it. Our house just caught on fire. We lived in a home, in a hotel for 6 months. It wasn't from a candle, but we had no interest in using candles. So she's like, hey, go check out these diffuser things. I got it. I paid cash for it. I knew nothing about it. Just picked it up and started playing around with it. And I remember being asked, would you want to do the business? And I said, no. I make well over 6 figures. I would never do something like this. No interest at all. And so fast forward about 6 months, a friend of mine, we were sitting on a softball court and she pulled out some of these oils and I had the oils. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing with yours? And we started talking about it. And so then we were like, then it was basketball season. And then the mom started saying, because we were rolling this Valor on our girls, we're like, well, let's see what this does. And these moms go, well, will you tell us what you're doing? Okay, I mean, I guess, I don't know anything. So literally October 2014, we had a group of people come over. And I'm a spreadsheet person. My career was in the financial world. I managed 6 departments, 17 billion in assets. Hundreds of people underneath me. That was going to be my career for life. And so we had people over and I made a list. So for me, it was like, well, who's coming? I didn't just say, hey, invite them. I literally checked in with every single person. Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? Until they told me yes or no. So we had about 20 people there. I think every single person got a kit that day. And they said, hey, can you do it again? Okay, I guess. It was hunting weekend, like a weekend after. And so we did a Friday and a Saturday. And we literally got like $1,000. And I'm like, it's nowhere near what I'm bringing home, but God, to have $1,000 extra is kind of nice. And for me to kind of back up, I mean, I did get a $50 check, and that's where my first got interested, because one of my accountants asked me and said, how do I get this? I'm like, well, I think you just go on this link and sign up. And I got $50, and I thought it's because something went out of stock that I had ordered. And I called Young Living, like, no, because you help this person get it. I got $50. So I read the policy and procedure manual. I'm an ops manager. I mean, no one does that, I know, but me. I read it. And I'm like, this is so simple. You guys, when I got that $1,000, and it was like, this is like almost more than what I'm paying my like mid-level accountants. I'm like, why in the world are people not doing this? I had 3 classes and I was getting a check like that. And I mean, for my life before, I mean, it was like 40 miles one way to work. I was working 60 hours. I had kids in sports. I wasn't making their games. And it was just like, that was my life. I liked what I did. And I never thought I would find something else. But I can tell you, being on this side of it, I mean, and to back up, so it was October 2014, January 2016, I started this full time. And long term, the thing for me is I'm such a number spreadsheet girl. You can't compare like, okay, I was making 6 figures there, and am I going to get exactly 6 figures here? No, because because it's basically the tax write-offs of what you can do. You can't, it's not comparing apples to apples. It is so much better to do this, and your time is there. I mean, yeah, I work weird hours, but I can use my phone anywhere I'm at. I'm at all my kids' basketball games and their softball games and their golf games, and I can go work out of the cabin. A couple months ago, it was a Tuesday, and my parents live in Florida in the winter, and I'm like, I'd had a bad week, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to come down on Saturday. I booked a trip on Saturday. I have members in Florida. Well, guess what? I can meet with them. I can travel. I can write it off. It is so much, it is like the life is better. And sometimes you always hear, well, it's not greener, but the world that I lived in from a corporate environment, this is so much better for people. And my passion is if I could get everyone to realize what is out there on the other side. It is amazing. These are products that are good for us. They're good for our family. They're good for our immune system. And people are working so that their managers and bosses can get bonuses. I was one of those people. I was getting the bonuses. My people that were making 35 to 45,000, they were never going to be a team leader or a supervisor or a manager. I saw all these moms, and it made me sick. They had babies. They never even got to like see their baby. We were working them 60 hours a week. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it made me so sad. And so I love this part of it where we get to do stuff that we're passionate about, and we can do it on our time. And we can, you do have to work to make money. You can't sit back and do nothing. You do have to work, but when you love the products, you will naturally be telling everyone. You just do. I'm not an outgoing person, but everyone at the basketball court knows who I am because I'm pulling my oils out and they're all trying it, you know what, and they're all signing up. And so I think for that part of it, where I was and where I am now, it is so amazing that I wish everyone would see that part of it. So my 5 minutes is up. So there you go.
Numbers girl, you probably had your timer going, yeah? You can time me. Okay, so I'm Becky. I love listening to all these women's stories. I have so much respect for each one of them, and they're all so unique. But it's so valuable what they have to bring to the table. And like everyone has such a unique skill set, but we all did it, right? It's my favorite part about this business. So I have had my kit 6 years since last December. And I was like, Kara, I want nothing to do with the whole sharing thing. I actually didn't really know that it was a network marketing business when I got my kit. I literally remember asking my husband, does Ashley get something for this? I really hope she does because she helped us a ton and she gave us a lot of things to try. And so I hope she gets something. And he was like, yeah, I don't know, but I hope she does because she really, really helped us. So that was like, and then I figured out that it was network marketing. I was like, I want nothing to do with this. But of course I used oils and I love them. At that time I was a teacher, a part-time high school chemistry teacher. I have taught chemistry for 10 years. And my husband was a head football coach and an athletic director, which basically means that we never saw him. He was gone before my kids were up getting ready. He missed dinner almost every single night, 6 nights out of the week, because he was at games and meetings and things like that. And our income was fixed. Like there's no moving up really. As a teacher, you get a little bit of a percentage every single year, but like you're not really going anywhere. I'm a teacher for the rest of my life, and I loved it. And my husband was an athletic director. There's nowhere else you can go. So we had what we had. We had 3 kids, age 3 and under. I had a baby at the time. And I love my oils, and I was like this little closet. I call myself a closet oiler. I wanted nothing. I didn't even want people to know I had them and that I used them. But they did so much for me that I just started telling people because I really felt like they needed them. I accidentally signed someone up because I wanted to win a bottle of Thieves on social media. So I posted about Thieves to try to win it. And my friend just saw it, looked up Young Living, bought a kit, and they traced her back to me and like put her under me. So my enroller was like, yay, you signed someone up. So she threw me in her business group, and I was like, no, that's not me. I don't want to do that. But she was like, no, just stay. And so I sat there for I think 3 months, and I just was like a fly on the wall. And I watched after person after person after person got added. And I watched all of these people signing people up, this community of women celebrating each other, getting so excited, celebrating these things like star and senior star and executive. And I was like, I don't know what these things are, but they must be a really big deal because people are freaking out over it. And I just was like, wow. And of course, every person that they were celebrating, I would click on them and be like, who is that? What makes them special? And I realized this is going to sound horrible, but I realized that no one was special. Like they're all so normal. And I was like, oh my goodness, there is nothing that separates any of these people from me, except for the fact that they stepped up to the plate and they said, I want to do this. And they did it. And I started thinking to myself, I think I could do this because I love these oils. Like I really kind of like them. So I told my husband, I was like, I think I want to do this. I think I want to start sharing. And so my first goal was to get my oils paid for. And that happened really, really fast because I just was so excited to tell everyone about them that I was like, okay, well that worked. So let me come up with another goal. So my next goal that I made was I was working part-time, okay? Part-time with 3 little kids. So my goal was come summer, I wanted to have that portion of my paycheck that I actually brought home after childcare was taken out. I wanted to get that over the summer because that paycheck was going to disappear. So I was like, I would love to keep that contribution to our family's income going through the summer. So lo and behold, the last day of May, I looked at my paycheck and it was going for the next month. when my teacher salary disappeared, my Young Living check was going to be, I think it was $3 over what that teaching difference was. And that was when I like looked around and I was like, okay, this is real. This is a real thing. I can set a goal and I can get there. And this doesn't just pay for oils. It doesn't just pay for my coffee habit. It doesn't just give me the chance to order pizza when I'm having a stressful day and I don't want to cook dinner. This can be something. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And really the whole course of growing, for me, it was a lot of learning to believe in myself and learning to believe that it was possible for anyone. For anyone, it is just a set of skills that anyone can learn. You don't have to be special. You don't have to be good at sales. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to have a huge network. I have enrolled in my 5.5 years of doing this business an average of 12 people a year. That's it. Okay. And I'm a platinum. You can look at the income disclosure to see what that means, but those numbers are very, very real. So belief is really what got me through to this. When my baby at the time, yay, believe that's the best oil. I have since had another child, so I now have 4 kids, but my third, while I taught for 1 more year before I stepped down from teaching. And during that school year, I worked my tail off because we realized, okay, this can be something. And we read this book called The 4-Year Career, and we figured out what residual income was. And we were like, we want that. So every day, my husband was gone all day. I would wake up, get the kids off to school. I would work. I would come home, do all the stuff with the baby, the toddler, all the kids, do homework with my oldest, get them dinner fed in bed. Then I would do all my teaching stuff and grade all my labs and do my lesson plans. And then at about 11 o'clock, I would start working on oils. And I did that for a whole school year. But after that school year, I quit my job. And then 9 months later, my husband was able to step down from his full-time position. So part of what that was one, I had to keep growing in my belief that it was possible. My third kiddo, she couldn't sleep unless someone was just like physically in her room. So we would turn off the lights and someone would just have to sit there for like a half an hour until she fell asleep. So every night I would put on a podcast from a guy named Richard Bliss Brooke, and he interviewed top network marketers in the industry, 6-figure, 7-figure earners. And I would listen to a story every single night. And that continued to build the belief in me. Because again, those people aren't special if you listen to that. I mean, they're awesome and they're so inspiring. But what was the most inspiring to me is that it's like, it's doable. They're so normal. And then the second one was, I realized I can't do this alone. And so it was a matter of believing in myself and believing in other people and finding people that could be as excited, believe just as much in it, and link arms together and do it together, and just getting a wave of people that understand what residual income is, believe in the product, and want to continually show up. So now my husband and I both work from home. We just do Young Living full time. We have our 4 kids, and it has given us the freedom to travel when we want. So many freedoms. And like when life throws us curveballs, I can remember 4 years ago doing video on the 4th of July, we had to replace our tires. And I remember doing a video for my group and just crying, thinking and saying, I can't believe it, but I'm not freaking out about the fact that we have to replace our tires, you guys. Like we have it. This isn't a stressful thing anymore. And I just so desperately wanted that for other people too. Okay, I'm sure I'm over 5 minutes, Kara. I'm really sorry.
Becky, really quick, someone asked the question of, did you teach classes? What did you do when you started?
Wait, should we do that like in the comment, like the box, or after everybody's had a chance to share, we'll come to questions too at the end?
I can do a little bit in the box and then we
the
can discuss more.
questions. I just want to make sure we have enough time for everyone.
Okay, I think I'm next. So I started long time ago in 2009, which just kind of blows my mind that I've been in this since 2009. And when I started, I was working as a CMA. I was working at a clinic. I am so thankful I'm not at a clinic right now. But I was working at a clinic. I had two kids at home in daycare, and my husband was on the road Monday through Friday building bridges. So talk about stressful. I worked an hour away from home. Like, it was just a little bit crazy. And I figured out how much I was making when I was working as a nurse, and it was like $20 a week. If you take in your time, your gas, your driving, or your daycare, all that stuff, I wasn't making that much. So then I was starting to contemplate already, like, not doing nursing. And then my upline had contacted me about September of 2010, and we started what we called, it was the Great Big Home Experience. And that is where we taught the class, and everybody in our downlines came, and they would bring non-members. And we started doing that consistently every first Friday of the month. And if I can't stress one word enough, it's consistency. When we did that, I ranked to silver in January of 2013. So super quick when we started the business. And then gold was October of 2013. So we were doing these consistently the first Friday of every month. We would talk about the premium start kit, and that was it. They sampled Ningxia Red and Balance Complete. I have another thing with, like, doing this business, life happens. Since doing this business, I've had two more babies, and one of them, when he was 21 days old, he spent 12 days in the hospital with RSV. So, like, looking back to, if I would have had a job, like, I spent every minute he was there, besides when I had to run to Target to get a different change of clothes and just to get out of there, 12 days in the hospital. But that happened. My mom had a stroke. My dad had a stroke. We just dealt with things with my mom and all that stuff. So in doing all that first Friday of the month consistently, I, like, pretty much took a step back when all this was happening. So the babies, my parents, helping them move. We built a house. I already had such a great foundation with my team that I didn't quit, but I wasn't as consistent as I was in the beginning. And I can definitely tell when I put in the time on doing the classes and connecting with my team versus not. And it just makes such a big difference. Even inviting them to all these online classes now, since we can't do them in person, it's just that consistency, that camaraderie, the community that it builds with people, that is huge. And that's kind of like why I started, because I quit my job and I was a stay-at-home mom, and you just need to get out of the house. So that when she asked to help, I'm like, sure. If you guys know colors, I'm a yellow. Like, I just wanted to help her. I knew nothing about the business. I really didn't know all that much about the oils, but I was there to help, and that's how I learned. I learned how to teach a class, how to set it up, and all the good stuff that went along with it. Another perk is that, I think a couple have said it as well, traveling. Like, I've traveled to Ecuador with my husband. I've traveled to Ecuador with my sister. Like, we've gone to Costa Rica. Just the traveling is amazing. And I know we wouldn't have been able to do or afford that if we wouldn't have started the Young Living business. And we went on a cruise. Like, that is amazing. Those were gifts from Young Living, which is awesome. And yeah, now I just work from home, and now homeschool, I guess. Not my forte. And my husband actually was able to retire from his bridge building job, which when I look back, I can't believe how I did it all, because he left Monday morning before any of us got up, and he wouldn't come home until Friday night. He was like a weekend dad, but like, we needed that. But now he quit that job and he works self-employed too. Now he just does his own cement business, and so, short and sweet, that's my story. I think Ellie was next.
I love that story. Yeah, thanks. So I'm an old timer too. I started in 2009 as well. And I think that when I started, I was called the oil lady. People were concerned that I was in the new age. And I did not really like sharing the oils. It was the Ninja Red that I was hooked on. It actually rocked my world, changed my life completely. It woke me up. I had what was called adrenal fatigue. So even though I had been homeschooling for 22 years. I have 7 children, and so I was still homeschooling when I started doing the oils. But the crazy thing was when I started doing the Ninja Red, I was about 3 weeks into it, and it was like it woke me up so much that all of a sudden I had all this time on my hands, right? All this energy, cleaning out closets and drawers and enjoying that part of it. And I couldn't stop telling people about it. Well, then there was a competition because I had to actually buy my kit. I didn't have the money. I went to 10 weeks of classes and we didn't have the extra money to purchase a kit. So I had a garage sale. I said, God, if you want me to have this kit, then I'll sell enough. Well, I sold exactly the amount that I needed to be able to buy my first kit. And the crazy thing about that was I didn't realize what they were, but to me, they were like gold. So they just sat on my counter, my dresser for a while, and I didn't know how to use them exactly. But when I started doing the Ninja Red again, I've just become so passionate about it, telling other people about it, telling them what it did for my son who had an auditory dyslexic disorder, and he was able to sit and play games with us. So my goal was not so much to sell. I absolutely had no interest at all in doing the business. I was just way too busy with with all my kids and homeschooling that I thought maybe I could share enough with them to be able to people so that they could get the Ninja Red, and then I would get a check to at least feed my new habit, right? And when I started, my upline was doing a competition that whoever went to the next rank would get a year's worth of Ninja Red. And to me, that was like gold. So I was really super motivated. But what I was surprised about was 9 people signed up within a couple weeks, and 2 of them wanted to do the business. So I started to think, oh my gosh, that means I'm in business. So I got more involved and more intrigued by it all. But what really changed my mind about it was when I found out, because my husband was built houses, and that was during the 2009 crash, right? When he stopped working as much, and I thought I do not know how to do his business to help him, and when he got sick. And when he got sick, nobody knew how to do his business to take it over. But what I found with this business was if something happened to me, my family would have residual income coming in to help support my family. And I thought, I know that I have 4 sisters. I knew that they would be willing to take over my family, but none of them had large families. And I didn't want to put that burden on them. So it was a burden on me to do that. So the thought that I could have a check coming in that they would actually inherit to be able to help provide for them, that was very motivating for me. And I also we didn't have college funds for kids. So I thought if I could put my kids in first and then everybody I signed up, because I wasn't like Becky, I think she said she only signed up 12 people a year. I'm a major enroller. So where do I put all these people? I would put them underneath each one of my kids. So they get a paycheck to help pay for their college loans. And I love that it's a plan, right? You had to start somewhere. The other thing was when Mike asked me to go back to work because he was so sick, he had candida and for 2 years, and they kept giving him more and more antibiotics, which we learned now that antibiotics actually feed it, right, and made it worse. But I tried to go to a restaurant because that was the only thing I knew that I could control my hours, and I was killing myself trying to work 2 shifts, trying to just pay the electric bills and the food. It was ridiculous. So when I realized that this was a form of income, then I knew that, okay, I could go back to college. I had already finished 2 years of aeronautical engineering degree. And I thought I could go back to college for a couple years, but then I would still have to get a job and work 40 years, right? Or I could pretend I was going to college by doing Young Living. And so I put my all into this as if I was going to college. Because at the time I had 2 kids going to college. They were getting up at 5 in the morning and working till 1 in the morning to get all their work done for these to do well in college. I thought I could probably do that with this business. And then hopefully I would have a residual income that would continue after the 4-year career, because I too read that book, 4-Year Career, and I thought maybe this could happen. And so for me, it totally changed my life. I think I was in it for 6 months, the first 6 months, and I think I had like 30 people underneath me. I was a turned executive, and I earned a trip to Ireland around, for 2 with me and my husband. Me and my husband had never been on a vacation home together, so that was exciting. And then just like Eric said, we just earned trip after trip, and it was a lot of fun, and work didn't seem like work. And again, like I said, the best part and the most convincing thing was if all this work that I put into this business, if something happened, well, everybody's going to die one day, so I could live to be 120, 130 years old. That's my plan. But my family will inherit my business. It won't have to collapse like my husband's did when he got sick. So I hope that you guys are all encouraged by this and realize that anybody can do this. And I too am not a salesman, never was. I hate salesmen actually. So, but I do love, and I'm very passionate about sharing the product and changing and helping people change their lives. So just know that you are not alone if you feel that way. And I just say, give it a try. Start with just making enough money to pay for your products. And then you'll be able to hopefully have a couple builders underneath you as well. And I think we hand it over to,
I think it's my turn. I'm one of the salespeople. I'm the salesperson she hates. Actually, it's a great lead-in. I was in high-tech sales for 18 years. Actually, I started as a product manager and then went into sales. This was truly an accidental career for me that became a very decided career for me. So I have 2 business degrees. I have a BBA and an MBA. And when I was graduating high school, my father said to me, when you apply for college, you will be applying to the business school, and you will be going to business school because I pay for university if you get a business degree. And I said, okay, Daddy, I get a business degree, right? So I got my business degree, and then I was expected to either go to law school or to business school, and I chose business school, and I did all the things I was supposed to do. And I actually had a fantastic career from the perspective that I'm glass half full. I can make lemonade out of lemons, right? Always. My friends know that, the girls on this call, but I loved what I did because I loved people. And that's why I loved sales so much, is that I had relationship sales. I worked on multi-million dollar deals, and I had a small amount of accounts, and I only called on those clients, and it was my job to sell the most to those clients. And they bought a lot from me because I took care of them. And I was one of the only females in my industry. I worked in a completely male-dominated industry, and that's probably why I was successful, is because I was like the mother nurturer of my clients, truly. So what happened to me is that I had a sick baby, and I started using oils for our family. And when I started using the oils, they really worked, and I became before the oils, I became very passionate about natural health because of my baby. And so when I found out about these oils, I found out from one of my best friends who I was traveling to nutrition conferences with to study about holistic health on my vacation time while having 2 small children and traveling twice a week for work, like just to give you an idea of like how desperate I was to find solutions for my family. for my baby specifically. And we had crazy results, but I just was using them and I really enjoyed them. And then my friend said, I want you to pull a class together. I want you to pull a party. I have a very blue personality. Will you have a party and invite all your friends for me? And I was like, I'm a party. And my first class was a class called Cocktails and Concoctions is what I called it. Cocktails and Concoctions. And it was just a mom's night out. And I had 25 people the first one and 25 people the second one within 2 weeks. And my friend said, you're going to have 2 classes 2 weeks apart. You're just going to do this for me because I'm asking for you to. And I was like, okay. And we had cocktails and we had a class. And I learned so much at my first class that I did not know. And I hit senior star after the first class. And then I hit executive after the second class because everyone enrolled, because it was a party and it was fun and we learned so much stuff and it was so interesting. And then my girlfriend was like, you go to all these conferences with me, you have to come to convention with me. So this is my friend that I was traveling nutrition conferences with, who went from nothing. By the time we were at convention, she was diamond. Okay, like she's the unicorn. Okay, I'm just telling you. And I went to this conference and I was like, what is this company? I go to conferences every year for work and it's a bunch of men and like there isn't this warm culture and there's not these like happy women everywhere and they're like kind and good. Everyone wants to help each other instead of competing with each other. This is amazing. So that's where it started for me, was convention, just because I went along for the ride. And then I read the 4-year career and was like, holy cow, like I can make some serious money. Just to give you an idea, I was making mid 6 figures in my former life as a telecom person. So when I left my job in the October or November of 2014, after starting to share in May of 2014, I took a massive pay cut, but I had been super frugal my entire career. I had socked that money away. I wasn't buying Louboutins. I was buying stocks. Like truly, like that's what I did with my money, is I would like, yay, I'm saving money. So I called my husband. Actually, the truth of the matter is I went to Israel with 40 women. I was like, had my apothecary in my backpack all the time, remedying everyone. And they're like, how can you not be doing this as your like life? Like this is what you should be doing. So I came home from Israel. I called my husband the day after I came home, after having a call with my boss, and said, I cannot do this anymore. I want to do Young Living full time. This is how much money we have in the bank account. How much money do we need to have before I can be happy? When you tell me when, and that's when I'll quit, because I'm ready to do this full time. And so he called, we had dinner that night and he said, okay, do it. So I left my job. I've never looked back. I've never regretted it. I was pedal to the metal though, because I was determined that I was going to make this work. And I mean, truly has been the best decision of my life. I love it so, so very much. And I work with almost all women instead of men. It's like complete antithesis. And I have this, just the most beautiful community of souls that I get to work with, that truly, like, I can barely talk about it without crying, because it has been the biggest gift to me emotionally, is the people, the women that I get to work with. So I don't know if I went over my 5 minutes. I tried to be very brief, but that's my story.
No, that was great, Allie. I do want to say, Allie and Kara both mentioned that their first classes, they had like 20 or 25 or 100 people at, which I'm like, dude, how did you do it? And that's amazing. And I want to tell you guys, my first class, I had 4 people come. No one bought a kit. So I just want you to know that they're freaking awesome, because they made that happen. But if you haven't made that happen, or maybe that's not your experience going into it, you can still do it. You've had a no-show at a class, raise your hand. You've hosted a class and no one showed up. Yep, I've had a couple. And the key there is try to learn from it, and like learn how you can invite better, or how maybe you follow up better or something like that. But celebrate. I'm not comparing myself to Allie or Kara going, well, they had this many people at that class and I can't be successful because I didn't do that. And I know when I started, I might have done that. I probably did do that, but I just want to like share, there's so many different ways to grow this. So Bonnie, sorry, I totally interrupted from there. I know you were going to share that other thing.
Oh, is everybody gone through? We've got everybody through. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we wanted to also share with you is there is this amazing video. Several people have talked about Richard Blissbrook, who wrote The 4-Year Career, an amazing book. His wife, Kimmy, wrote The 4-Year Career for Women. Just a quick story with them. He has been a network marketer with another company for years. I think it's like 43 years, something like that. He's a professional network marketer and helps people grow in other companies besides Young Living. And he was coaching, and he does a lot of coaching and stuff like that. He was coaching Adam Green, who is in Young Living, a young guy up in Canada who kind of rocketed up to Royal Crown Diamond. Anyway, he was coaching him, and at some point, he and Kimmy looked at each other after coaching and looking at his numbers, going, "What are we doing?" They had their own network marketing company. They had a product that it was a health product, and I think it's been 2 or 3 years now, they completely said, "What are we doing? Young Living is the best thing we've seen out there. Their comp plan is amazing." And they enrolled with Adam. And I think they hit diamond in a month because they brought their whole team over. But so that's kind of a brief story why he's involved with Young Living as a distributor now. But there is a video by him, and he talks about why he made that decision after 43 years of network marketing. And I will tell you guys, when you listen to this video, you will go, "Oh my gosh, I am so glad I'm with this company." He kind of lays it all out, and it's super good. So we wanted to share that with you. I know we'll be sharing this video on our teams and along with that video, but Carol listed the video here in the chat. Contact one of us if you miss getting this, because it's a super great video, and it will really open your eyes up even more than our stories probably do. It's kind of his story of why Young Living and why now, and you'll be really excited to hear it. So I don't know if we want to open it up for questions. We're just at an hour. So have people had their questions answered, do we think?
I'm thinking.
I think I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.